We are tWoTcast, episode 264. Just kidding.
No, goddamn it,
we are 262. We're tWoTcast, episode 262. For sure this time.
All right, everyone, shut the f*** up.
Wheel of Time. Reread a podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. Jono's the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy. We are tWoTcast!
We literally just had this conversation.
I know. I just read down the line and I was like, I see the numbers. It's a 2 and a 6 and a 4.
Perfect.
Hey, you know what? No one can complain less than me. I read whatever is put in front of me. Like
we'd have a real Anchorman situation if Joe just wrote a fucking curse word. It's an insult on this.
Go fuck yourself, tWoTcast listeners. God damn it, Joe.
You're listening to tWoTcast, the Wheel of Time reread podcast, now covering Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, Book 2, The Great Hunt. With me is Jono.
Jono.
Joe.
Oh, hey, Tom.
I'm Tom, study your math. I can come back to the video chat now, right? So
yeah.
Scripts.
Sure. Did you just say yeah, sure, or yes, sir?
Yeah, sure.
He should have said yes, sir.
So, I told Tom this right before you got on, Jono, but we finished Perry Mason last night, me and Lauren.
Oh, yeah?
And, well, it was really good, but the point is, we were talking about shows we watched, and I was like, hey, think about this time next year, we might be watching The Wheel of Time. And she's like, no, you won't. It'll get pushed back. And I was like, damn it, Lauren.
Fucking negative, bitch.
Stop ruining my life.
You're probably right, but I'm mad about it.
We might be watching it over fucking Christmas. You don't know.
Yeah. It's fine. Who knows?
Why not? I don't feel like that's possible, but I love it.
This is what I said to Joe. Every country in the world except us has the virus pretty locked down, and they're not filming in the United States. So
exactly, yeah.
It's true, and also I hope they took the time to edit and to do some.
Everything on IMDb says 2021, so I'm not expecting anything by Christmas.
Yeah,
but that being said,
people, yeah.
There's just, they're like, look, we wanted to get it out to everybody. We didn't have time for all the special effects. And then it's just a picture of Rand with his hands cupped together. And then just like somebody writes on the screen, fire sword.
What if it just said the word Narg and then just like VFX to be added or something like that every time? Like it would just be Rand like staring at a door and nothing happens. And then,
yeah, it's a normal sized man with like giant animal gloves and then like a Trolloc head on a stick up over his head.
Jono, that was a callback to Italian Spider-Man.
I like the idea that it just says like season 1 budget pushed to season 2, and oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like that season of television that came out around the writer's strike happened, and no good TV was coming out for like a year.
So they double the budget for season 2. Season 1 is a fucking mess. They're like, it doesn't matter. Amazon's committed. So
it just looks like a Be Kind Rewind or a Drunk History.
Be Kind Rewind would be amazing. At least it's not Billy Zane. That's what they'll say
love the idea
at the end of every episode.
At least instead of saying the end, at least it's not Billy Zane. And then the credits.
What if episode 1 was just a drunk history of the pilot?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it's going to be.
It's kind of like
next April 1st. They should put that shitty.
Just put it out.
I put it out on Amazon like a Wheel of Time. We're like, what?
Maybe
just with like a new intro beginning or something, so you think it's real, and then it's just Billy Zane.
What if that is the intro? Like, kind of like you do 4 minutes of the show, and then you just do the fucking Winter Dragon thing as an intro. That's what Red Eagle actually put in their contract, is you've got to have an episode.
You have to put our shitty pilots somewhere in the series.
They just touch it. They just like
the owner. Yeah.
They just remaster the film. They're like, here it is.
I think it's a perfect plan.
Yeah, I feel like we should be in Hollywood. Hollywood should come out.
Oh, by the way, a follow-up to my other show that I was telling you guys about last week, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, actually had another episode. I thought it was over. And they quite clearly said they caught the guy and he is found guilty, or he confessed to like all the crimes and rapes and stuff. So that it was finished. it did finish with them catching the killer.
There you go.
On not Unsolved Mysteries, but the same idea. If you've watched a lot of Unsolved Mysteries, you'll remember that Robert Stack always just yells "update" while updating everyone.
Episode 5 did seem like an ending though, because it was like wrapping up the woman's life, you know, like, so it seemed like very very succinct and final. You know what else wrapped up the woman's life? The killer. No.
Nice. No, he's right. I mean, he's right about that.
Not about that woman, about several other women and men.
Someone will kill this chick too. It happens.
What have you guys been watching?
Barry Mason.
Oh, good.
Which is a combination of Barry and Perry Mason. Not the best detective work. Kills a lot of people.
I have to get back to Perry Mason. I forgot about
Barry is fantastic. Are you actually watching that?
Oh, yeah. We finished season 2 of Barry, yeah.
I saw the first 3 or 4 and then forgot it existed yet again.
Oh, my God. It's so good. Season 2 is so good.
Yeah, season 2 is better than season 1. We did
but for sure. It's like way better.
It's so annoying to kind of like watch him just kind of like, because he just wanted to fucking kill things and be happy, which obviously kind of doesn't really go together, other than with psychopaths, which I guess he qualifies for, but in a different way. But when you fucking get there and all of a sudden he kind of embraces both sides, at least on and off, it's insane.
It's fantastic. It's a really good show. Also, his bald albino friend is spectacular.
He really is. He really is.
Or does he have alopecia? Whatever weird thing he has going on with his body.
For all our alopecia and or albino listeners, Joe apologizes.
I think it's alopecia because he's definitely hairless, but I don't know if he's also albino because I don't remember what color eyes he has. Does he have pink eyes? I don't remember. He's very pale.
Let's talk about something else.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe O'Hara.
He's hysterical. He's the best part of the show. He's fantastic.
Yeah. He's handy capable for Joe.
I finished the MCU. And then I'm watching the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I figured I'd watch Agent Carter because I never saw it before. So that's
I never watched that either. Is it good?
It's pretty good.
I feel like that would have been the only one that I really did want to watch. I don't feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I tried to watch it a few times, and I'm like, this isn't good.
You know, you gotta... When it's a network TV show, you have to want to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just not. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not a fine art. It's a Marvel show on ABC.
I can't tell if that's an advertisement for. Or it's
a little in between.
If you like it, you like it. It's not premium television. It's not HBO.
It's no Jack Ryan or The Boys. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, The Boys is back soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how they pull that off. Every single show is just like, we'll see you in 2 years, and The Boys is like, we're back.
The Boys is like, hey, we're back.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
With a full audience of people that are immunocompromised. This is not good.
How have you been doing this?
Well, they're all superheroes, Tom, so they don't get sick, obviously.
It's true. Have you seen the things they struggle to be through? Like one of them lost like a digit.
Maybe one of their superpowers is maybe they have a super doctor.
That's possible.
That's what they're doing with their super doctor, is just making sure that people can record for The Voice.
The Boys.
Not The Voice.
Do you think me and Joe want to watch The Voice?
I thought it was all a joke.
I'd sooner kill myself.
Why would The Voice be about superheroes?
I was just joking.
Well, to be fair to Jono, when he said he was watching Barry Mason, and then you guys were talking, it took me like 5 solid minutes to realize you were talking about Barry.
I mean, Jono clearly said, and that's a combination between Barry and Perry Mason.
Yeah, let's talk about both.
I mean, he spelled it out for you, Tom.
Yeah.
I think I must have tuned you out, which I often do.
I tune out. Yeah, but honestly, I heard The Voice, and I was assuming everything was sarcasm because that show is hot garbage. Although I did long ago used to do The Voice drinking game. which is where we would get back from Sunday soccer, come home, and AJ's then girlfriend, now wife, was just watching The Voice. And we just, every time they did a battle, we just took a couple shots and just walked outside because that show's hot fucking garbage. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Good luck, though. It's better if I just don't know. I feel like it. I just thought it was The Voice the whole time.
What have you guys been reading? Any changes?
I'm about to finish the second book of Joe Abercrombie's First Law trilogy. Really love those books, so I'm rereading it to get to his next.
How many books does he have out? Literally until you mentioned him, I've never heard of him.
I think he's got 7 kind of in this world and at least 1 or 2 in another world. He's a really fucking good author. He's kind of on that same, he's not as good as Martin, but kind of following that like really dark fantasy, kind of like just grungy.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Like he and The Gentleman Bastards, and I forget that author's name, which I'll probably find in a minute when I look on my bookshelf, are some of in my mind, some of the coolest books that are out that aren't written by Sanderson, Jordan, Martin, Rothfuss. They're really fucking cool. Scott Lynch, that's his name. Little racist name, but good enough author.
You got to take a breath after you say stuff like that. It's a joke and edit that out.
Also, I almost spit just hacked up cigarette smoke while I was laughing from that. So I barely contained it. Although I could.
So Abercrombie and Lynch, by the way, should just be a shirt and or bookseller. All right, that's it for me. What about you, Tommy Bear?
Nothing new. I'm just reading the same stuff. I haven't read a lot in the last week. It's just been a week since we talked about this.
It's been a
8
little
days.
while. No, last week we just did a catch-up time. The last episode. It's been a little bit. It's been 2 weeks.
Yes, man.
I killed For Your Eyes Only. Shredded that book.
Only for yours.
Same books are gathering dust for me at the moment.
Which was really good, but none of them were like the movies at all. It was short stories, Tom, to clarify. It wasn't a full book. It was like short stories collection. For Your Eyes Only is just one short story in that book titled For Your Eyes Only.
It is fascinating to pull on the source material because like GoldenEye technically qualifies as a James Bond derived name. Yeah. Because that's what we called his house.
This one had a From a View to a Kill in it, which was literally nothing like the movie. For Your Eyes Only, which I think had like aspects of what
3
was in the movie.
Yeah.
And then Quantum of Solace, which was nothing like the movie at all. And it had two other short stories in it that they haven't used the titles to yet. There was one called The Hildebrand Rarity, which is when he just was spearing a fish, and it was a fantastic story. I loved that one.
By the way, that was the rumored name for the new Bond movie that's coming out, was The Hildebrand Rarity, because it's the only name that's actually germane to a book, or at least a story that's been used.
Is it coming out?
Risico is the other one. They haven't used that either.
Ah. Are you saying... yes, Tom, it is coming out.
Do we have a date now?
They moved it to November originally, and I don't think they've moved it since then.
Will you be bummed out if they put it out straight to video for $30?
No, a little bit, but only because we were going to make a dumb event of it and go wearing tuxedos, but not really, I guess.
Yeah, for those who don't know, which I assume and I hope is everyone, the last at least movie, did all of us go out?
I don't know.
I forget, Tom, were you there?
No, Tom wasn't there. Yeah, maybe Jennifer and Jimmy came with us?
I think it was just the 4 of us. Maybe. So Joe,
or maybe we saw Jennifer and Jimmy at the theater, and we were all dressed up, and they were like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
We went to one of the.
I think that's what happened.
I think that is fucking James Bond.
We went dressed in tuxedos and fucking ball gowns for the ladies. The 4 of us went out to one of those bars, movies with a bar, and of course ordered whiskey and Coke.
Classic James Bond trick.
Yeah. Well, we were concerned that the vodka was poisoned, just like in Dr. No, so we ordered something different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait,
they knew why we were there. Spectre knew why we were there.
Yeah.
Do you really not get one martini after all that?
No, I don't drink martinis.
I don't like martinis at all.
I don't like a martini because the glass is like so. I feel like I get it.
I feel like it's just made to tip over.
Yeah.
No, it's just gone. The second you get it, I'm like, well.
Oh yeah, that too. It's like
Also because you probably tipped it over. Yeah. Like what happens is like you spill the first 10%, and the next thing you know, you take one sip and you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what the fuck is this? And the answer is, well, actually, it's a kind of, what is it? I guess a 3-dimensional shape where the top is going to be the cubic root of it. And you're like, fuck off.
And then when you're done with it, you say there wasn't enough vermouth in here, and then you throw the glass behind you and it breaks.
Yeah.
They honestly should have shot the engineer that designed that glass on site, like a DuPont or whatever. Like, what do you think about this one?
Just oh my god!
We pay you $100,000 a year, and this is what you came up with?
Yeah, it's top heavy, so you kind of use your hand. You're probably gonna be drinking a lot of it. It's almost straight alcohol, so your hand's shaking. You're gonna put it down awkwardly because it's fucking glass. You don't know where you're putting it, and it's filled with liquid, which again. The viscosity of alcohol is actually below 1 sometimes, I believe. So yeah, you're gonna be all fucked up.
It's not filled with liquid because 50% of that glass is just stem.
Well, I mean the glass on top.
Give me my fucking liquor.
Well, anyway, I killed that short story book and then went right into Thunderball, and it's pretty good already.
And you know what he strikes? Black Thunderball.
I just got to the chapter where they introduced Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Ernst Stavro Blofeld. His name alone is.
I know.
I'm going to name my next
so
anything.
Good. When they describe him, basically when Fleming describes this man, like he takes like 4 pages to wind up the description of this guy, and he goes into the
Robert Jordan would be proud. Yeah.
I know. He goes into like so much detail of like the sort of person he was that like if he existed in a tribe, he would instantly be the chief of that tribe. Like in the terms of the power he dominates a room with, I'm just like. Interesting, fantastic. You're building this guy up fantastically. I love it.
I think it might be time. I think it might be time for the spoiler warning.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
We've talked about James Bond a lot.
I mean, we could keep going.
Spoiler warning. Our episode of The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, chapters 8 through 9. Does anyone have anything to say before the recap? Jono, artwork, maps.
I think that this is probably a bigger part for us to cover than we recommended because we literally cover the entire 3rd book here.
I'm concerned with how long John is going to keep us on chapter 8. I think it might be too low.
It's going to be more than that. I mean, this first chapter we're going to cover is the entire 3rd book.
Yeah, I read chapter 8 and then I read all of book 3 and then I read chapter 9.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 8 recap.
So it starts off with Ran in the mountains with Lorraine. I'm not really sure, so he ends up like there's a battle.
Kill you in real life.
All right, the chapter is called The Dragon Reborn. It's Rand, Moraine, Nynaeve, and Egwene POVs. Go, Tom.
All right, Rand meets with the Amerlin. Nynaeve almost makes out with Lan. Nynaeve almost makes out with Moraine, ? Nynaeve definitely almost makes out with Egwene, but she gets called away to say goodbye to Moraine.
Interesting.
All right, we read the same book.
Interesting way of saying all of that.
Look, it got us to where we needed to be.
All right, well, I guess let's talk about Rand and the Amerlin.
So, Tom, you're kind of walking around outside, right?
Yeah.
Cat cross the courtyard.
Do I have to spine or only a spine? Am I being held up by my tail? My feet touching the ground. How's it work?
I need a truly arrogant saunter for when you go back inside to refill your drink.
I really can't. Well, shit. Let's save that for the Patreon episode, I guess, to tie it in with the TV show. But
oh, yeah.
I'm fascinated what that looks like.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait.
Rand's nervous on his way to meet the Amerlin with Lan. He's jumpy as shit. Someone says tie sharp Manethrin, and he's like, what is that supposed to mean? What do they mean by that? And then he's like, calm down, Rand, calm down.
You tie sharp.
Fantastic.
It's a great carryover from the previous chapter of just like the weird shit that Lan's making him do. And like I love like the fierce kind of like at first like Lan's kind of amused about the idea of like you put one thing here just kind of because he was dicking around with him a little bit, and now all of a sudden he's like proud as fuck about like maybe you should be a little bit scared of him. He's like, why would you be scared of me? He's like, it's a good question. Also, in like a book or two, you will be able to murder her, but don't worry about why she's scared of you.
Also, because if she's scared of you, then that's actually bad. So don't let her be scared of you.
Yeah, but don't be scared of her. Good luck, kid. So
I wrote Masuri glances at them with their swords, and she said, I thought this was a shepherd, and he's like, he's just a man or something. And I just wrote, Obi-Wan has trained you well. It's a classic Star Wars reference, so.
I've seen the movies this year.
Rand's freaking out whether or not they know or not, which is, and by they, he means obviously the Amerlin.
Yeah.
But I think Varen is just like awesome in this conversation. She cracks me up. She just sitting there like completely not paying attention and then just goes, I've always thought that parable about the bird teaching the fish thing was wrong because like some fish fly and some birds like they're just like, what the fuck are you doing? It's fantastic.
I have a question about these fish things from Swan.
Yeah, they're called ducks.
First of all, I'm assuming she didn't start fishing with her dad till she was like maybe 5. And then she went to the tower, like let's say 15. And then maybe around 20 is when Guitarra Morosa died. And now, so that's when Rand was born. So now it's like 18 later. So she spent 5 of her early years not fishing, and then at least 23 later years being an Aes Sedai, and then the Maryland seat, and maybe 10 years fishing, but it's still the only thing she thinks.
Tom, all of her core understanding of what happens in life stems from the lessons her father taught her as a child. It's
called your formative period.
Small percentage of her life. Like,
also, is her age clarified as the same as Moraine's? Because I know they were novices at the same time. They're friends, and they've been raised around the same time. But is her age the same?
Yeah, pretty much. It may be off by 1 or 2 years, but yes.
Just because...
Not necessarily.
Well, they make such a big deal about, like, how late in the Nave is to the tower, and they never accept people like that. And even Egwene...
Oh, she's not... You're right. She's not even that old.
Somewhat a late arrival.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to call them.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, 37,
38. I was thinking about that today, and then I also thought about, like, how hideous do people get, like, in their mid to late 40s in this universe that Swan is so happy that she looks young when she gets stilled?
No, they're older than 37. They're older than 40.
Are they?
So if they start there at 15, right, they spend like 2 years as novices, 3 years as accepted. They're 20.
And then Rand is born.
Yeah. And when Rand's about 20, so
30,
they're about
40.
They're about 40.
I thought he was supposed to be around 18 at the start of these books.
18 to 20. I may have been off a year.
All right.
So yeah.
38, 39.
But either way, no. I for some reason can't add, apparently.
That's true. You need to study your math.
Study my math. Fuck. Going from a racist joke, but that's better. Yeah.
Rain tells a little story about Tam's history, and then
hold on. Before we get there. Before we can get there.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Varen says something very, very funny to me, which is talks about how the fact that, as much as you would hate to be without Ulrich, the useless guy who's a fill-in character and gets killed off screen and no one even notices, and it's kind of the biggest confusion.
Is that the order she sends running off later?
I don't think so. It's not really answered, but I assume not, because that guy has to fucking gallop back and forth by the time Swan gets killed. Or gets not killed. Wow, spoiler, that doesn't happen until later. But by the time that she gets stilled and overthrown. So I don't think so.
Yeah, but wouldn't she have her warder with her?
Yeah. But again,
I mean, if you're going to have your warder with you, this is one of the times that you want it with you.
Agreed. But anyway, I just always found it weird and almost like a kind of don't forget that she's got a warder too. Like you would never go without Ulrich. And actually, you know what? You're about to go the rest of your fucking life soon enough without Ulrich.
It doesn't seem weird here because it's just introduced, but the way that they don't talk about it ever again and then barely mention him when he's dead, like 6 months later.
That's the thing. No, you're right. Like it's not weird now. It makes
it's
total
not weird
sense.
now. It's just weird later on when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that guy died. To the point where when they mention him later, I'm like,
It's weird revisionist history.
I forgot. I almost forgot.
I think it's funny that, I mean, there's thousands of people with swords in Faldara that would be willing to protect the Maryland seat. Do you think if you're a warder and then your Aes Sedai becomes the Maryland seat, you just go in the corner and just like cry for at least like an hour?
Yeah, because there's like nothing to do.
Like, great.
Or is there too much to do?
What's the point of me?
Well, she said she was attacked by a guy with a knife like a month ago.
He's exactly like that soldier.
Or was that a lie? But she can't lie.
Rudian, where the war is over and the soldier's just sitting there on his Joe car with his shock lance and just sad. He's like, what do I do now?
I don't think
Way to go. That's full 3,500 years worth of history.
This lady's super old. I don't know what to do anymore.
That is Ulrich. I know.
Ulrich Goldfinger. Holy shit, Joe. That's who it is. It's Ulrich Goldfinger.
I didn't even have to be a warder for that long.
Do you think he's going to get slowly strangled in a plane? In a horrifying, visceral death from James Bond?
Perhaps you'd wonder why you choke a man before you throw him onto the plane.
Maybe he'll be like Odd Job's death and he'll get sucked out. And his ass will hold his body for a few minutes.
Just pink sock for a parachute.
Fucking horrifying.
That guy was in the prime of his life. Doesn't have a job anymore. I would love to read this short novella about him, like just in a farm, like near Tarvalin with nothing to do, and she hasn't even noticed that he hasn't been to the White Tower in like months, and he's just fat and drinking beer.
He's just huge gambling. Like
he's like Cameron. How do you say his name? Cameron.
I think he's exactly like Fat Thor, and he's playing Xbox and yelling at kids on the internet.
I love that Joe was trying to go for a Margaret Wise interview.
Yeah, I was going for a Dragonlance reference, and you just jumped to something way better. Yeah, Caramon, that's it.
Oh, caramel. I see.
Oh, I was saying it wrong.
I think he eats a lot of caramels.
Yeah, and bechamel sauce. All the L's. So anyway, as Joe was going to say until I interrupted him with some obviously useless points about things that really don't matter at all. So useful. We start getting the background on Tam. Moraine's going to say it.
Yeah,
Joe,
again, I think this is sort of like one of those, like, who knows if much of this is going to be in the show, but this part in particular, I'm like, I love the history parts, especially when they tell about the foretelling. You're like, whoa, tell me more.
I think this has to be in the show.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
It's just how much of this conversation will make the cut, I suppose.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, parts of it can be given earlier, right? Like they can be given, like Rand can know a little bit more, although it takes away from the mystery. But if you remember, Moraine interviews Nynaeve trying to find out information from everyone, and not just Nynaeve, but everyone about, who are the outsiders, who are these people. So like it could be something that she picks up like a little more on screen, so it's not just giant info dump.
We got to stop talking about what might or might not be on the show.
Oh, right. Patreon episode. You owe us money to listen to music thought.
So anyway, here's what Moraine says. I don't know. Anyway, Rand's kind of reaction is like, where did you learn all that? I mean, they mentioned all the wars he's been in Ilion, and he became a blade master, and eventually he rose to that prominence, and he led some companions, and he was in like 3 wars, and like she goes into like a lot of detail.
Does not really fit until you realize that's a capital C.
For Ilion, yeah. Anyway, but like he was a general or a captain at least, and then he goes.
Just if he had just written the book about Tam, I was like, man, that was really good.
Yeah, it'd be fucking amazing.
What about this baby? Oh, the baby is Jesus. Shit.
It's just kind of interesting that she was like, and that would have all been useful information if I had known that before.
Yeah, it was actually a literal Sandler's,
So maybe the first book would be different. It was a fever dream. It wasn't real. Anyway, Siwan shocks the fuck out of him by revealing that she knows he can channel. After casually mentioning that he can leave with Perrin and Matt to go find the horn and the dagger, she's like, "So anyway, and you can channel." And he's like, "Wait, what?"
To me, this whole thing of like this becomes kind of like, it's at least 1 or 2 books long, really, but it goes from kind of low to just instantly the highest piece of Rand's, like, whatever Moraine or the Aes Sedai want, I'm not going to do. No matter what it is. Like, hey, the Aes Sedai wants you to live long and prosper, which I think was said by someone else. And he'll be like, no, I'm going to be poor, and I may even kill myself.
That's a famous thing that C-3PO said in Star Wars.
God damn, Star Wars. Always steal things. I thought that was from Dune. You sure?
Somebody probably said from Harry Potter.
It's from Doom.
No, I think you're right about Harry Potter. Because what else could it be? What are you going to say, the Bible?
I mean, what else could it be? The Bible's also a rip-off of Harry Potter. Everyone knows this.
Yeah, we all know.
Jesus is a boy who lived. He assumes the void, which shocks Siwan, and she's like, did he learn this from Lan too? And she's like, no, that was his dad. It's fine. They keep continue to talk about him like he's not in the room, but also talking to him. For him, it's very frustrating. And I mean, I
would talk about him like he's not in the room.
Yeah.
Well,
he's being kind of a idiot.
I guess the thing here that bothers me most is that I think this is the beginning of them mishandling him.
Yes.
And even afterwards, Siwan's like, that was really hard to do to him. I'm sad we had to do that to him, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you didn't have to do that to him. You could have told him what was going on and told him what you were planning and kept him in the loop and helped him.
Well, but it works.
Yeah, if they told
Rand the plan. I don't know if you finished the last book, but it works.
The plan is simply, we're going to help keep you alive. We're on your side. And we're going to help you every step of the way as much as we can. We can't teach you to channel, but we're going to help you. Yeah. If they had said that, he'd be a lot less stressed about what's going on with him.
We can't teach you to channel, and then shockingly, Moraine with the fish metaphor.
Yeah, again, the metaphor is instantly, like we joked about it earlier, but can a fish teach a duck or teach a bird to swim? Well, actually, there are birds who swim. Well, can a bird teach a fish to fly? There are those too. Well, fuck, can I make a really bad metaphor and or simile? I don't know.
First of all, flying fish and swimming birds exist, but they definitely can't teach each other to do shit. They're dumb animals.
That's true.
Maybe the whole thing was a very sexist argument that
I like how Rand's just like, why aren't you channeling me? And they don't even wind up to it. They're just like, oh, it's because you're a Dragon Reborn. You're not just some normal channeler. And he's like, whoa!
But you know what else doesn't work? A fish teaching another fish how to swim, because the fish can't teach anything.
Again,
that's why it's a bad metaphor.
What if this is what it was? Because I'm an asshole and I want to go back to a shitty joke I just made. What if it was really just his condemnation of female teachers Robert Jordan had while growing up and how they couldn't teach shit, but as soon as he had a male teacher, it all made sense.
Oh. That makes sense. You're saying Robert Jordan was sexist.
Yeah.
Okay. I buy it.
That can't be true based on some literature we've recently acquired.
I can't even say much more than that, but I really hate we can't talk about it. Anyway, moving on.
We can vaguely talk about it.
We just did. Moving on. The Void rocks after they sell him. He's the Dragon Reborn. He's basically going into denial physically and emotionally. And I love how he snaps, I won't be on a tarball on leash. I thought that was fucking... And they're just like, oh! And he's just it's just kind of one of those... He's still fucking awesome, even when they're hitting him with all this shit. He's still awesome.
It's both one of the coolest and dumbest things. You go first, Tom.
Yeah, what he's doing right now... Well, what he's doing right now is basically still taking the advice of one of the Forsaken.
Yep, that's
also,
correct.
Well, Lan, too.
But
no, he says it's from Tom.
Yeah, but he got the names from the Forsaken.
Tom.
He got the idea. No, he had never heard of like Guire Amsalon, Rael, and Darksbane.
Yeah.
Those were
All of
the
those names he
heard.
said out loud to Tom, and then Tom gave him advice, and he's hearing that advice.
Tom's advice was only to not say those out loud because those are all fucked up dark friends who fucking, or not dark friends, sorry, that's not true. Fucked up false dragons who fucking made the world fucking shake.
Yeah, Tom basically reinforced what Shamil was saying.
Yeah, Tom's advice was don't say
but he's
name.
following the advice from Tom, not from
That's
his
why I
the opposite.
I think
in
the last book.
Hold on, no. The opposite. The advice Tom had was don't tell Moraine because those names are things that people don't know. It was literally don't say these names. It was the fucking Balsamon who said that what she's going to do is try to fucking make you play her tune like these three fucking.
I understand what you're saying, but I disagree.
I mean,
Tom clearly says
no. What happens is Shamil's like, look, this is what's happening, and the White Tower is going to use you. And then he asks Tom about it, and Tom's just like, well, I mean, he is the Dark One, but he's not wrong.
There you go. That's
Tom
what I'm saying, but he's not following the advice from Ishmael. He's following what Tom reinforced as the right thing to do.
All Tom said was
not the dark friend.
Tom's advice was to hold it close and not say anything. That was Tom's advice.
I think it was more elaborate. You're not remembering that correctly. I disagree. Right. He said more than just don't tell Moraine. He said more than that.
Go to book one. It would have been in probably Barrelon.
Anyway, Moraine tells about the Ale War and the foretelling story, which, as we were just saying, is fucking awesome.
I wrote an entire book about it called News Spring.
News, Spring.
It's an awesome book.
You wrote that book?
No.
I like how he says, my name is Randolph Thor, Tam was sick, blah, blah, blah. Moraine just cuts him off and keeps going. Sorry, I'm trying to break you right now. I will not be interrupted.
Enough of your denial. We're sick.
Yeah, stop it.
It's an amazing origin story. Like, that's just given here, and the fact that you can expound upon it into an entire fucking novella that big is awesome in my mind. Like, I think that it was really fucking cool. Like, because she gives the most important, she technically gives the high points of the whole fucking book, but the book itself is awesome because it, has her and Lan's beginning and all that. But like you said, the high points are, like what you were going to say, like, it's just fucking cool. It just shows, again, the depth of history that's going on here.
I love that it's like, look, here's undeniable proof. I'm physically not able to lie. And Rand's just like, I don't know, my friend John down the street was also born on Dragon Mount. So maybe not.
Tam totally said I was his son biologically.
And his dad was really shady. So and I think he can channel.
This whole foretelling thing, though, like, this is the part that gets me, like, my brain went back to when Peter was talking about, like, oh, this is the shit that made me think the world is so much bigger and it's so, like, cool, and like the Horn of Valera kind of stuff at the end of the first book. And
when you say Peter, do you mean the dark friend from that small town?
Yes, that's who I was talking about. Yeah, the dark friend from Australia.
Hater.
Anyway, but like, this is the foretelling from Guitar Morosa is like the part where I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. And not that we didn't know already that he's the one that we're all been like waiting for and looking for, but to hear the exact words of like, this is exactly what was said the minute you were born, and like, this is who Tam was, and like, this whole conversation is fantastic for me.
It is. And what's fascinating about it, besides almost every piece of it, is that foretelling, like you said, Joe, sets up so much of the last 18 to 20 years of history, right? Where the Aiel go east again, Carahan's all fucked up, Andor's all fucked up. Like, the Red Ajah is out there trying to kill men who can channel under the auspices of the Black Ajah. Like it fucks up so much history and so much, like, just the political landscape. Like, Aes Sedai overturned several times, which eventually they just decide, hey, put some young bitch in, and maybe she'll get killed early too, but let's see. So Swan's elevated. Like, everything about this is a world-turning event. And all of it is, a fucking infant being born on the, just queefed out on the middle of a fucking mountain.
Damn.
I always forget too that
that was the actual Tom. That was the actual foretelling. It was he is born again, queefed out in the mountainside. Her vagina cries like the thunder. Got it right here.
He ripped asunder all the way to the rectum. Someone stitch it.
I would have named this. I would have named this chapter "The Queef That Shook the World." No, I was like, I never really think about it. The timeline was that the Isle War was only like 18 years ago. Because whenever they talk about it, it seems like it's ancient history.
Yeah. In fairness,
I think it was such a devastating war to the Westlands, which is what I call them, not Randland, because fuck that. But because it was so devastating to them, that I think they all just they're all shell shocked and PTSD'd from it. And they're just like, fuck, let's go home and pretend that never happened. And
they discuss it, as they discuss in later books, and people are like, man, we haven't seen Isle in a long time. And it's been a long time since we crossed the Dragon Wall. And I'm like, you were here yesterday.
Yeah, you were here.
Not even 20 years ago.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of the world, you were here yesterday. One time every 3,000 years.
Here yesterday, sieged Carine and almost took down Tar Valon just to kill one guy. And that was a person that could vote.
To the point where some of the older Aiel that he knows later, like Roark, he must have fought Mael War, right?
Yeah, they talk about it. Yeah, Roark was there, Bio was there.
Yeah, they were all. Oh, it's been so long since we did this. You mean 20 years ago?
Yeah, and again, no one else has done this. So why is it that long?
I guess 20 years is a fucking long time. It's not that it's a short amount of time, but just in the grand scheme of things, you're it wasn't that long ago.
But to your PTSD notion, it's kind of a very good point because they mentioned the fact that other than, since Archer fucking Hawkwing 1,000 years ago, no one has had an army of this size. 100,000 leagues coming across. And they joke about an army used to be 5,000 people coming across. The Troubles is what they called, when the White Cloaks or Amadikia went up against Altera, that kind of thing. And we're talking 5,000.
That's hilarious.
And then all of a sudden it's 10 fucking times that raiding across the fucking world. That is talk about it's almost a world war on its own because literally every fucking nation sent something. Every fucking nation sent true, a general de jour kind of thing to kind of go up there. And all these fuckers wanted to do was just kill this goddamn fucking king.
By the way, I haven't mentioned much of what we said on the old episodes, but because there wasn't a lot, we did these chapters so briefly compared to how we're doing them now. So we were basically this happens and this happens, blah, blah, blah. We basically were really interested in Tam's history like we are now. And Rand denying he's a Dragon Reborn, big fucking deal. And that's kind of it. We talked more about it, but nothing that we're rehashing right now. But that being said, I'm really glad you just said I'm a dick, yeah.
I also put something Jonah just said. I wish they called the 5 great generals. Instead, I wish they called them the generals du jour.
The generals du jour.
I said it and I liked it because if you remember, they always joke there's fucking who's in charge today when we read Newspring.
The general du jour.
That would be the general.
I do like how when Rand's listening to Moraine, he hears Tam's voice coming in from his memory and in the void and confirming everything she's saying, and he's still denying it, but it's kind of awesome to see those interspliced together. He's born in the snow of the mountain, on the mountainside or something like that, and then he's and it's Tam's voice is I found a babe in the snow, and he's no, he's in denial, but it's really fucking awesome scene, where he's just remembering Tam's voice, talking about that little fever dream kind of thing.
Maybe Moraine just sat there when she was listening, had her hands on his head while she was trying to heal him. He was just very quietly telling the exact same fever dream over and over.
She just made this whole thing up.
Maybe while the Trollocs were destroying Emmons Field, she wasn't fighting the Trollocs at all, and she was just watching everybody die and sitting in her room with that little blue thing that she wears on her head and just listening to Rand and Tam in the woods.
Yeah. Where were you? I was helping play it around.
Fireball. I put
a fire out over there. I set that fire over there. I was helping.
I was actually giving you chills technically because you were always cold because I was channeling. So, cold people pay more attention. You're welcome.
She does say it took me 20 years to find you. Do you think the Trollocs came after you because you were a Taviran? And he's like, "You're lying."
Oh, I guess that means that confirms that Rand is 20.
Oh yeah, she did say 20. So Swan and Moraine are at least 40.
About 40.
You know how you can
So
tell.
they're probably like 39, 40, 41. Like somewhere in that range.
In their pussies, like if you cut them open.
Whoa!
Holy shit! Nope.
No, you put a new ring on their vagina every time. They
That
get
is
it
point.
They get it pierced. That's it. What did you think I said?
I muted my phone.
I just heard my wife in the other room just go, "What the fuck?"
You mean?
Yeah.
Swan calls him an anchor, which he's basically like, "I won't be used as a tool." And she's like, "What's wrong with a tool doing a tool's job?" And I'm just like, "You just called him a tool." Like you couldn't say you're also a human and we will help you through this. What the fuck is their plan here? I don't understand.
I put a tool up my snatch every night. Don't you want to do that? Wait, what?
Calling somebody a tool is an insult from the first age.
Oh. And he's like, Balgazaga's man is dead. And she's like, if you believe that, you're an idiot.
You know, like there's so many bizarre points to make here about like it all makes sense. Like on your first read, you're just kind of like, yeah, they're trying to like push him, that kind of thing, and Rand doesn't want to be pushed. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to.
He's in denial, and they want him to go through the stages of like acceptance, and I understand that, but it's like you can't do that by helping him,
just telling
instead
him.
of like pretending your hands off and you don't care. Like you can't support him.
No.
There's two ways of letting somebody go through the realization that this is real without like doing what they're doing. You know,
it's entirely in their nature to try to control people, and they're doing it right now just with reverse psychology.
Yeah,
or forward psychology,
or sideways psychology.
Oh, like Lost season 5 or something.
6.
6. I mean, Tom, that's a very valid point. That is just what they've always been doing.
Yeah, maybe they're just like it's just ingrained in them, and this is how they handle shit like this.
Well, of course, and they
which just is another fucking cherry on the top of the Tarvalon. The White Tower is broken, and like the whole way they do shit is so stupid and fucked up.
Don't talk about the cherries, Joe. Jesus,
God damn it.
But I mean,
you can't put a cherry like
you can't put a cherry on top of that iron.
Yeah, cherry Jubilee, and that's it. Like there's.
That's your best one yet.
This actual bullshit aside, because you guys can't stop making me drink and make bullshit jokes. Like, I think that this is exactly what happens, though, is that they're so used to doing it. They're so used to like, you know, dumb accepted. So Gwyn and company, you know, fuck them. They'll do what we say. You know, Rand's a boy. He's 19. They don't know anything. Or Rand's a boy. He's 22 in a couple of years. You know, just over and over, they always just appreciate what the fuck is being presented to them. And all of a sudden, they're just kind of like, oh, he's got a shit tossed by literally everything.
Yeah. But also, like, I know it's difficult to make sure you can trust someone like Varen. They're forced into trusting Varen because Varen figures it out and just flat out tells them, I figured it out. And they're like, well, we're going to keep you next to us now.
She's the Perry Mason of the Wheel of Time.
I guess my point is like Egwene, like over a short period of time, and she's like a prisoner in the White Tower during this period of time, finds people to help her that she can trust and forced to trust them and whatever. I mean, yeah, she kind of takes over the Black Aja hunt from those other ones, but like she gets a certain amount of Aes Sedai beneath her that she can trust infallibly. And it's like, what? You had 20 fucking years. You couldn't have found one other Aes Sedai that you could pull into this web so it wasn't just you and fucking Moraine and that's it? Like, you're in the tower. What the fuck are you doing?
I mean, just to be fair,
20 years?
The circumstances of the world when Egwene does what she does are quite different.
I understand. Yeah, it's a very different situation. I get that. But they had 20 fucking years. Like, I know Moraine's out in the world doing shit and Swan's trapped in the tower doing shit, but like, surely you could have come up with some way to get
I agree.
on board a
Certain
few
pieces
more
of it-
Aes Sedai to help you out with this fucking
certain
enormous
pieces of it
task.
do strain your credulity. You kind of like it. Just seems a little too, unless she didn't really appreciate the mission. Almost that once she became a Marilyn, that took up the entirety of her job plus this little ancillary. I hope Moraine doesn't fuck up because that's the whole world. But other than that, I'll play
Right.
Paul.
We also see how some of the most trusted Aes Sedai that she has react as the book goes on, and like they all do it wrong. I wouldn't trust any of them either.
True.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I just don't understand why there's got to be one or two that you like over the course of time. You're like, okay, it would be the first fucking thing I did is like start making a list of the people that I might trust, whittling them down.
Well, I mean, it's good they didn't because there's a shocking amount of people that they trust implicitly that turned out to be dark friends.
That's true. And also Leanne, like you don't even trust Leanne and she's your keeper. It's like surely over the years you might have deliberately tried to catch Leanne in a lie. You have 20 years to do it.
I don't think they learned that until later that Black
That's
Eyes
correct.
was alive.
Yeah,
and
that is
also,
correct.
there is no point to bringing Leanne into it. She can't go anywhere either. It's like oh well.
The point of bringing Leanne into it is that she can help as your keeper facilitate meetings between you and Moraine and like make things look a little more cohesive and like not shady as fuck. And like certain other things, like there's reasons to bring other people in.
But on the other hand, I'm with Tom.
A brown Aja person would be great because they can comb the libraries for all this knowledge that you might have missed, or like you could just have like a fucking scholar in the tower basement library just like figuring shit out while you do everything else.
Leanne breaks
just anything, just like any, like there's so many things that you could do with that time.
I mean, yeah, and I guess it wouldn't have taken 20 years to find him probably if you had one other person look.
Yeah. Even just one other person helping you.
No,
it just seems odd. I don't know. It just seems odd.
Shit, you should have had Ulrich out looking. He's not doing anything anyway, playing Xbox.
He's playing Xbox and drinking with boys. I mean, overage boys.
Yeah, he's just drinking with that rock guy and that little bug alien. Yeah, that South African rock guy, Wait, he's New Zealand. He's from New Zealand.
He's got an accent. It's British, but not that British.
So I love when Rand forces himself upright, like even though the void is broken at this point, and he's just like, "Fuck this! I just realized I'm kneeling on the ground like a goddamn fucking rat.
Yeah,
I'm going to stand up, and wait, face this shit."
He is very specifically crouching like a toad. This comes up later in this book.
Oh, you mean like a wolf brother?
Nope, that's a different person.
I mean like Torm Ryanton's Sander.
Oh.
All right, wait, do I have the wrong person?
No, that's it. No, wait. No, I think that's it.
That literally happens twice. It's bizarre that Rand is crouching like a toad, and then later the Manor is crouching like a toad.
So anyway, conversation wraps up. Why are you letting me free? The prophecies must be fulfilled. And then he says, by your leave, I will not be used. And then he leaves. So, Jono, what are your last thoughts?
My last thoughts here is that, I guess that I personally at least continue to underappreciate what the fuck it's to be told that you're the Dragon Reborn. Because, as a reader, you're just kind of like, well, obviously this dude's going to save the fucking world. This is our hero of choice. Fuck yeah. And, of course, that, in modern day parlance, you're expecting, this is the man who's going to ruin things. But it's not just ruin. For
why is that so askew in certain areas of the world versus others?
I think that it's always true though, right? But no one knows technically what would have happened if Lews Therin had waited a little bit and gone with women and not just done it himself with his 100 companions. Perhaps this would never have happened. But at the very least, we know that every man tried to destroy the fucking world and since then has gone insane. That's the gift this man has given you. The other gift is, of course, you're still alive and the Dark One's in his own, cage.
Let's forget all that good stuff he did.
But we don't know what would have happened the other way, right? And not only that, I think that there's just this question of whether or not the people who want to become the Dragon Reborn, because they now think, the thought here is, I
guess I understand the concept of if you're a false dragon, you're basically the Antichrist, and you're horrible, and you're just a man that's going to channel and fuck shit up. And I get that. But if you're the actual Dragon Reborn,
you've got a goal. You have a purpose.
Yeah, you're not that person, and you're still a man that can channel, and that is frightening. But like, I don't know.
Maybe they forgot all the good things he did. I think just legend faded to myth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the next question is, maybe they don't even know that. Maybe all they know is the fact that the dragon channeled, and the dragon did this shit.
And broke the world, The
world was broken.
And it was horrible,
Therefore, all men have gone insane since then. They don't know that the dragon also fixed the cage, or the prison. They just know that the dragon did this.
So we already kind of talked about it, but Swan's like, I don't like what we just did. And then I wrote, it's because you're all stupid. And then Varian says something about suggesting we gentle him, or she's like, well, we should gentle him. And then she goes, oh, but we can't. Or something like that. I was, this is Varian, she's just fucking trolling them, right? Like, she's just
oh yeah,
absolutely. All right, just making sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, quick reminder around. You can't do that.
She's playing a role. Okay, got it.
I love the idea for
making sure that they know that they can't, making that it seem like it's their idea.
Yeah, and then Varian just basically says something along the lines of like, but when he learns to channel, light help us all, kind of thing.
That was it. That's the meeting.
Yeah, that was the end of it. That was kind of like after Rand left the room and for 5 seconds with Swan. Like it's like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
well, it's time for now it's time for the first of Nynaeve's 3 almost makeout sessions.
Yeah, Nynaeve. Nynaeve is looking for Rand. A storm is coming. She hates that it's connected to the power.
Wait, is there a storm coming?
Is that like low level men?
Yeah, I think it's just connected to like Aes Sedai can sense the dark, or like sense dark friends and sense like that kind of shit, and like just sense like portents. It's like the foretelling. It's like low level foretelling.
Is she sensing the guy?
I guess it's low level men. Yeah.
Is she sensing the guy with the arrow that's about to try to shoot the arrow at them?
No, I think she's just sensing like the buildup of the conversation between Swan and Rand, and it's just like now Rand knows he's the Dragon Reborn. Kind of thing. And it's like that's coming to a thunderhead in her mind, sort of.
I don't think it's that conversation in particular. You finished, Tom. I'm sorry.
Well, if it was that, it would have to be, her conversation with Lan would have to be happening almost at the same time this conversation's happening with Rand and the American.
I think it is.
Not necessarily, because the takeaway from that conversation is that Rand now has this knowledge in his mind that he is the actual Dragon Reborn. And that these Aes Sedai think that, and it might be setting him down a path.
I personally
think that might be what she's talking about.
I personally think what she senses is just kind of almost it's almost foretelling wise that the world's about to be a storm, right? That
important events are about to start.
Momentous. I don't think that the conversation with Rand is at all relevant. I mean, obviously,
you don't think this conversation sets Rand on a momentous path?
I mean, it does, but at the same time, I mean, so does almost everything he fucking does.
True. I'm just, I mean,
I don't think
she could be sensing just the fact that there are 3 Taviran in the same place, for fuck's sake, if you're going that vague with it. But I mean, like, I think that's kind of what it is, though. It's just
I think that it's just her way. Like, it's not really useful other than for everyone to know, the world's about to get crazy. That's it. There's really no point to it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like she can ever define it. There's plenty of times in the next couple of books where she's like, my sense of what's going on is telling me that it should be, a tornado out here, and, my skirt should be blown up, and not in a fun way. But it's a bright, shiny day.
Has she ever sensed that a storm was coming and then it actually just rained?
Briefly. That's when she started the urine.
I think later on she uses the weather foretelling stuff when the weather is actually fucked up later on in the book.
She's like, a storm is coming, and then it rains. Yeah. So she's like, I knew it. Called that 10 minutes.
It has nothing to do with the emotions or tension in the last couple of chapters, guys. Just the weather.
She does that though. Holy shit! There's a part in after they've used the Bowl of the Winds and she's bonded Lan herself. She starts saying like a storm's coming and just pissing on him while they're having sex.
Oh, God damn it. I'm really just mad at myself for listening to that for that long.
She just yells, I'm a squirter the first time, and that's it.
Anyway, she argues with her own brain about her abandoning the two rivers and her duties as a wisdom. And then she walks up on land and has another conversation with her own brain about how he's old enough to be her father and he's a king and a warder and Moraine has him and fuck Moraine. And suddenly he turns around and is like, hey, I need to talk to you.
That's it.
Can I read you something here?
Get ready to cut this out.
She studied the length of him. She leaning against the stone, fingering his. She studied what was going on below.
I feel like you're cutting parts out.
I cut out 2 words, but she studied the length of him.
Fingering his hilt.
Drop a word. He studied what was going on below. It's good enough.
So she looked at the length of his penis and he was checking out her vagina.
Yeah, as he was fingering his chin.
He was checking out her map of Tarvalon.
Yeah. My God, I think I could make it to that South Harbor tonight.
He has nothing to say, or she has like, we have nothing to say to each other. I already said everything I have to say, and then you said to fuck off. And he's like, I didn't tell you to fuck. Here's a gift.
Is the South Harbor her ass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their asshole.
Just want to make sure I was following along.
The ass.
Trying to shift the conversation around.
the germane point here is that he gives her his ring.
Yeah. Which is really awesome. And, it's one of those things where I'm like, essentially Nynaeve's engaged right now.
Yeah.
And I like, still, even now, I'm like, how many times have I fucking read this? And I'm still like, it's so weird how early this happens in the books. Like, I guess it's like, it's so early on in book 1 when you're really paying attention to them as characters and not just like Rand and Egwene and like Perrin and Mat, that you're like, oh shit, they've been in love since like the first quarter of book 1, but like kind of thing. But like, it's just so weird to me still, like how quickly they get to this point of like, you're my love.
Like, when they got to the 2 rivers, he thought she was hot. And then when he found out she could track, he's like, maybe we could date. And then when she like helps free the boys, or Perrin and Egwene from the White Cloaks, he's like, we should get.
He's like, she's a badass. Yeah.
He's like phantom jerking off and saying.
Well, he didn't do it in the waves.
Oh my God! With a fan cloak,
Rand rolled over
in front of everybody.
He's got that fan cloak over him.
Just his midsection is like swirls of colors because it's constantly gyrating cloth.
Only one of Nynaeve's not getting queasy watching it. Just getting wet. There's a storm coming tonight.
There's like a rhythmic movement near Land's middle section and behind his water cloak. I can't really make out what's going on.
This is the real man, Darb.
He's not even wearing pants half the time. It's just thigh-high jeans. His dick hanging out underneath his fan cloth.
He's a never nude, Tom. I like how he says, if you send me the ring or a message with it, like stamped with his ring, he will come to her without fail. And it's just like,
yeah, no, literally without fail. That character's huge. Awful.
That's a fucking huge statement, though, because he's basically saying, like, no matter what me and Moraine are doing, I will abandon Moraine and come help you. Which is, like, fucking mind-blowing when you think of the scale of what he's promising her.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, that doesn't really sink in at first. Like, you don't really, like,
I think the sad part about it is that at the start of The Dragon Reborn, she completely undercuts that comment and kind of makes it out like he's an asshole for even saying it.
Agreed. So 2 things I want to say. One,
go ahead.
Joe, I had never really thought like the engagement piece. I said it kind of nonchalantly, like, oh, I agree. And then I kind of thought about it and I was like, holy shit, like that really is what that is. That's kind of
100% what it is.
Beautiful. And I don't know if we talked about it last time, but that's incredible to a certain extent.
We didn't talk about it at all. No. We literally, my note from last podcast is Land gives Nynaeve the ring. That's literally it.
Which, by the way, now that we've all way different 10 years ago, none of us were married. Apparently, now all of us are married. We've done that and we said, God damn. That wasn't worth. I mean, Yeah, so hooray for us. Also, way different fucking trajectories our lives are on, where we just get drunk all the time.
I guess I just noticed when a man gave a woman a ring, and I understood
When
what
a
it meant.
man gives a woman.
It's funny you mentioned that song, Jono, because I wrote, he calls her my Shariah.
That made me laugh a little bit and also like really bummed me out.
My Shariah. There she goes.
I like how suddenly Moraine is there like this.
Go to
like
this. There you go. My Shariah.
All right, now I'm sad.
Yeah, I'll cut that out. I like how suddenly Moraine is there like the Seidler from Seinfeld. Like, Len's like, all right, see you later. And then Moraine's just like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, what the fuck? How long have you been there?
And Moraine's
I need to
like,
put some Tic Tacs in your pocket.
You seem like you're ready for some action. Plan left, so here we are.
It's time to
I
make
noticed
out.
Lan, you were ready to make out. I noticed Lan left, so I was thinking, maybe
So
you and I can make out.
He
You
can
guys see
feel
it too.
everything I feel. So if you get me off, he gets off.
Yep, I said in the recap, and you were like, "That's weird," but it's not weird, is it?
It's not. You're right. So
She
a
basically
quick question.
says we're leaving, and then she's like, what'd you do with Rand? And she's like, nothing. She wanted to see all three of the boys, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't
Like-
talk loud. No. Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, you'll never learn how to kill me if you don't go."
Yeah.
to the tower."
She's like, I should have gotten the boys away from you, and me, and Egwene. And she's like, well, that would have been impossible for one of them, as you know. And also, they're old enough. They're fine. They're grown
This
up.
is
Plus, you need to train if you ever want to fight me with the power. Wait, what?
Moraine enjoyed her reverse psychology with Rand so much, she's like, "Let's try it again."
Yeah.
This is
It seems to be working. I'm on such a high from that meeting I had with the Dragon Reborn earlier. I really just want to try it on someone else. Oh, there's
Don't
me.
say Dragon Reborn. Don't say his name. Don't say his title, at least. So a quick question back on the Lan Nynaeve thing. Like, is Lan being a dickhead, or is he being a good man by saying that, he can't marry her?
He's being sort of a dick.
But is it like he's always?
He's putting his personal quest of I want to die in the blight ahead of his love for her. So, like,
But
yeah,
he's
sort
not,
of.
he's bonded to someone that he knows is going to get him
He just
killed.
said he would give up the bond and come for her whenever she needed him. But
Yeah.
he's not willing to give up his personal quest to go die in the blight, and which is why he said, "I can't give you anything but a burial ground or whatever."
If Lan had no bond, would he be like, "Finally," and just jump on a motorcycle and drive straight to Shiloh Gold?
Yes.
Sword out, like,
Yes. Yes.
It
Like,
would
you
be
know?
the theme
Yes, he
song
would.
from Wet Hot American Summer where he jumps on the fucking motorcycle.
I was born to run.
Gotta do it Lan's way. I know how to run. Yeah. Keith jumped over haystacks before. I can tell you that.
No, that's Victor Pule. Those are the Trollocs he's chasing down. And then he pulls his horse up short and he's like, son of a bitch, they got away again.
Is that Ingtar on the fucking run over there?
I just think he knows his fate is not to like die an old man with his wife.
Yeah. I know. He doesn't mean
knows-
literally. He just knows I'm a machine built to kill and die at some point.
He's born
and
to
that's
run.
not somebody that's meant to love
just
you and grow
laying
old
on this
together.
red bike, and he's like, "I'm a rebel, Daddy." Out.
God damn, I was not expecting that reference. Jesus Christ. By the way, I have to Pee Wee Herman into the toilet real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Egwene, watching maids work.
Making out with whom, Tom?
Well, Nynaeve enters, Jono.
Nynaeve.
And she's like, are you ready? And she's like, ready for what, making out? Well, that's not what I was going to say.
I'm ready.
That's not what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Ready for your tongue in my mouth? Yes. Ready to leave? No.
Well, she calls her wisdom, and Nynaeve's like, don't call me that now. Which is so funny, because later on, Nynaeve's like, what happened? When did this start? The disrespect from Egwene. Or not disrespect, but the lack of I'm higher than you in the hierarchy of life. And I'm just like, you did it right here, right now. This is
like,
the exact moment.
Don't call me wisdom anymore. We're equals. And then later, like, why is she being like this? What is it?
Yeah.
I love this passage, though, because it's like a quickly kind of like, it's a self-humbling moment, which is rare for Nynaeve. But at the same time, afterwards, she goes, don't talk about the wisdom girl. Don't go against me, but in a very kind of like grumpy but self-amused, joking way. And it's just kind of like, I like that. Don't try to comfort me. Fuck off.
Well, the whole like, I guess it's book 3. Yeah, when they're like,
so last chapter.
Traveling with Elaine and like bitching, and Elaine's the only one that's like talking to both of them and like keeping everything cool, and they meet Avienda for the first time and all that jazz.
Yeah, that's book 3.
So frustrating. One, because Elaine's being level-headed, which just drives me insane because I hate her.
Drives you crazy.
But also, them fighting each other, I'm just like, oh God, it's so exhausting. I don't even want to do it again. Just thinking of it makes me exhausted. Anyway, that's not happening yet. Lord Rand is outside with Algamar. And she's like, Lord Rand! I'm going to take care of this.
Yeah, let me tell you about Lord Rand. It ends up he is in fact, the son of a clan chief and related to a queen and soon to be the Dragon Reborn. So the Lord Dragon. Lord Rand!
He's also in a weird way cousin to the last king of Malkir.
Yeah.
And also the son of a queen.
Yeah, tracks.
Not that we know that yet, but
Yeah. But let me tell you about Lord Rand.
He is a lord. Lord of what? I don't know. The morning? How about the morning?
Just call me
You can call me David.
Of the morning. Did we ever do that song?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
I feel like while you guys drink more, you keep.
I really just love that, like, when they go out, Algamar's like talking Rand down. Like, he's like, hey, man, calm down. You can't go into the women's apartments. I wasn't trying to go in. I was just calling her name down the hallway like a madman.
Your voice
going over the threshold.
Women's apartments. Like, you can't speak into them.
The concept of the women's apartments, and he can't grasp it to save his goddamn life.
In fairness, I couldn't either last episode because I still don't know any, like, do all women live there? And like, you only come over to fuck and you go right back to the women's apartment?
Yes, we discussed it. The women live separately. And the men that are soldiers, because all the men are soldiers, live separately, like in barracks. It's ready to deploy at a moment's notice.
It's the girls' dorm. You can't go in there without going through security. And if there's a boy in there that's not supposed to be the RA, it's going to lose their fucking mind.
I feel like, you remember the Animal House where like they go to the Fawn Leibowitz apartment?
Yeah, Harry Potter just can't walk up to Hermione's room, even though they both live in Gryffindor Tower.
You know what he needs? A little polymorph potion. He'll get in and get it in.
Well, not when he's polymorphed. He just takes a little bit to make himself look a little bit more effeminate. Just a little.
No, trying to become a cat, just like Hermione did. He's gonna try to fuck that.
So Egwene is like, I heard about you running around with a sword in the women's apartments, and just now when you met the Emirlin, and he's like, yeah, enough about that. Anyway, the Emirlin. What about her? Nothing. She just wanted to see me because I'm a Taviran, not because I'm the Dragon Reborn.
Don't say that word.
Anyway, here comes the cascading annoyances of Rand constantly not telling everybody that he's the Dragon Reborn. Not that I want him to announce it, but they're his closest friends. Like, you'd think he'd be like, she said this. I don't want to believe it. I don't think it's true. Like, nothing. Like, you don't have to be like, I am the Dragon Reborn. But he could have been like, she said this and it's freaking me out. Like, kind of thing. Like, just something. Like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Maybe he thinks if he gives her too many details that she won't give it up.
It's a good point. I've done that before.
Would that change everything between them, though? I mean, like, think about everything that happens after this. Like, even when he is the Dragon Reborn, she's like, Rand's not the dragon. That's silly. Like, it takes like 5 books for even Egwene to be like, okay, well, I've heard it enough times. It must be true.
Joe, think about it this way. Egwene knows that Rand has HIV, but she does not know that he has full-blown AIDS.
It's a good point. I mean, that is to a certain extent almost the exact opposite of the idea, but it is the idea where HIV is channeling and AIDS is the Dragon Reborn. You'd rather have AIDS. But
full-blown AIDS.
For all our viewers out there that can't see me, I was laughing really hard, just quietly.
I have something I want to say, but I've got to laugh for a moment because it's also our deepest apologies to all of Tom's jokes because they're not funny, and I'm sorry that they weren't funny.
that was
She
inappropriate.
even says like, "I'm going to be an Aes Sedai so I can help you,"
That doesn't
which
sound
changes completely later. Obviously, she becomes the Aes. Sure, her motivations of like what she's doing completely shifts. Like it all becomes loyalty to the White Tower, but it's just one of those things where you're like, if you had said certain things in this literal conversation, it might have literally changed everything.
Well, I will say this. So, like, you know, I'm always Team Rand, and I hate the idea of Team anything because that sounds very Twilight-esque. Because fuck that shit. But I will say that I've always been on Rand's side. But when I look at this now, I'm still on Rand's side, of course. But it's a fucked up goodbye on both parties, and it pretty much kind of juxtaposes the relationship both as a, you know, pre this part and post this part. Like for their relationship, like there's, you know, Aes Sedai influences. It's two people who no longer are in love, you know, maybe
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I literally wrote, this is Egwene and Rand breaking up, just like the other conversation is Nynaeve and Lan getting engaged. Like this is literally them breaking up.
A great juxtaposition.
They don't actually say like we're not ever going to be together, but this is what that is. Like this is that moment when they're like, I'm going this way and you're going that way. They're not just saying goodbye. They're like literally, relationship wise breaking up.
And they never are the same again. And like I know.
And how rude of Egwene not to tell that lady that was constantly asking about Rand being single or not.
Yeah.
And saying that we broke up.
Nisua, like, oh, that dick's free now. You got to suck it. It's on a horse.
It's like when you break up with somebody, but you don't want to date anybody else.
I see. Okay, I see. All right, that makes sense.
But like, this is where they're kind of like, they both are looking at each other like, you know, this is the Egwene chapter. So she's looking at her Egwene point of view. Like, Rand's too stubborn to get it. He doesn't appreciate things. Where he's looking at her and he's just like, she doesn't understand. She wants to be nice. I can't tell her things. Like it's the exact same mirrored viewpoint of, you know, like, I can't tell the other my thoughts. I can't tell the other my feelings. I can't tell the other kind of what the fuck has just happened recently and what my future has. And it's so goddamn frustrating.
I mean, there are a lot of
only gets worse
relationships like that.
I feel like,
sure, but like we don't live in a world. The relationships are like that now, maybe, but like we don't live in a world where I can't just like text you 2 days later and be like, "Hey, man, sorry, I should have said something," or blah blah blah. Like they're going away for God knows how long. Like this is the only chance you have to say the things that you need to say to a human before communication is broken. For X
already
amount of,
know. The background is already known between the other two, right? Like it's not like if he said, "Hey, I can channel," she'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like she'd be like, "Yeah, I know, dude. I saw that."
Yeah, that's another thing. She already knows. She's not like Matt and Perrin who don't even know he can channel at all. Like it's just like one extra thing. Like, by the way, the Mirrorland knows I can channel. I'm freaking out, and here's why she didn't gentle me. She thinks I'm the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah,
you know, like
you know what? Moraine didn't gentle me, and guess what? You know,
Egwene's kind of the only one that he can tell.
I told you all his friends. I told you I killed Balthamon. So whether or not I can fucking am the Dragon Reborn or just some weird ass false dragon who's still strong.
Anyway,
you know,
we're belaboring.
Maybe
Tom, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say maybe Egwene's like, she doesn't even realize that she's actually pretty pumped. She's getting herself out of this goddamn arranged marriage. Like, oh, like she likes him, but
she's like, oh, thank fucking God. Woo! She's like, I don't know if you know this. Stuck marrying the guy that can channel.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I have like, I have a shit ton of potential, and I'm going to go to the White Tower and meet like two of the hottest guys. Like,
and also, I mean, I know you can channel, but you're a man, so you're going to go crazy and die. But I'm going to live a really long time, and there is a lot of ass out there.
Yeah,
it's like, by the way,
a lot going on.
I thought you were going to be a doctor. Ends up I'm going to be a doctor. So fuck off. This arranged marriage is over.
All right, Chapter 9, Leave Takings, Rand, and Bail Doom and Perspectives.
I honestly can't believe it.
And yeah, it took us a long time to get there. That's why I'm just jumping right in.
Oh, that's fine.
I've got everyone gathers in the courtyard to leave. Someone tries to JFK the Maryland seat. We meet Kieran as they rise out of town, whatever the fuck that was supposed to say, as they leave town.
Ride.
And then someone do be trying to kill Beldome.
Fantastic. Rand reaches the courtyard. Everything's in ordered turmoil, as Robert Jordan says. Guys are dashing around. I like how he specifically is like, all the arrow areas in the guard walks are crowded. Like, he just throws that out there real fast right then, just like right the first description. It's like, people are running around, and the catwalks are very crowded.
That's really bad. Where's the Maryland Seats Secret Service here?
Yeah, why are you crowding the guard walks with like onlookers when, if you're that concerned with security, like maybe not have 1,000 possible assassin points?
I'm still blown away. There are onlookers. Like, how is there anybody in Fall Dar that's not a soldier or a blacksmith?
No idea.
Like, do they just have a pawn shop and like the toy store and
yeah, of course, yeah. They're not Aiel, Tom.
Get the fuck out of there. Come to watch. Like, why not though? Like, so
oh no, I mean, it makes complete sense to me. I'm on your page, Tom.
I mean, if I was in Fall Dar and then like I got married and then it's like, what should we do? Open the store? I'm like, no, we should move.
Good point. I guess.
I mean, even traveling armors have
a little more important.
Armors.
Yeah. They're either horrors or soldiers. I mean, it's not camp followers or campers. Campers sounds like West American summer teenagers.
Rand tries to apologize to Perrin and Matt, and they ignore him. And then even Loyal calls him out for his coat, which I thought was fucking hilarious on a reread. I was like, holy shit. Even Loyal's like, not really made for traveling, bro. What are you doing? Oh, this gold? Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about that.
No.
Don't worry about these gold stitches.
And I'm sure, or I used to say hope, I mentioned it last time. He talks about what she thinks sword is. And for those of you who don't remember their Latin, sheath is, in Latin, vagina. So you must sheath your own sword.
There will come a time when there are no other options.
But just fuck a pussy.
And you have to sheath the sword in your own body.
Yeah.
Land says.
The next thing you know, Rand is sitting there forcing his dick behind himself, like just in some weird contorted position, trying to force it in his own body.
Doesn't make any sense, Jono. Obviously, the enemy he's facing is going to sheath his sword in Rand's body.
Oh. Well, that would have saved a lot of effort.
Yeah, Land's like, sell for small victories, sheath the sword. You know, no big deal.
I like
10 years ago, Rand
off a display.
Nice parting words.
Yeah.
Look, that was basically it. Like, damn, nice advice, bro. Don't forget how to kill yourself. See you later.
I become a bit of a surrogate father for you, and I know you're scared and alone. So this is the last thing I have to say to you before I see you for probably a very long time. Sometimes you just have to kill yourself.
Sometimes you might have to die. And you'll never know until it happens. But here's how you do it.
The most wisdom I can impart to you. Suicide is...
It's his last lesson, Tom.
It's quite literally very easy. You just kind of open yourself up for it, and then maybe attack him afterwards.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Lance just like, look, sometimes death by cup. That's all you can do.
Yeah, there's certain situations where it is and it isn't. Mirlin and Algamar walk by, and he's like, there's going to be no more attacks, I swear, 5 minutes before an attack.
Great general, my ass.
Seriously, how is this guy in the top 5? He is the worst.
Oh man, it's just so funny in like retrospect, like how he's just like, I'm so sorry, you have to stay another day, I feel like we'll throw a feast, and it's like, no, there won't be anything like happened last night. And then 5 minutes later,
he tries to keep him from the eye of the world. One of the greatest fortresses on the planet is invaded by Trollocs, and then he almost gets the most important person on the planet killed.
And the Horn of Valir is stolen.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and you know who actually is the most important, because we all know
that. Where did you keep the Horn of Valir? In the treasure room with everything else important. Good job.
I think we can officially declare as
it's like your strategic genius.
That there are only 4 great generals. There's an
even Rand knows to hide his flute and his his gleaming cloak in a fucking oven. Yeah, like he doesn't put it with all his like. Where should we put the horn? Right where everything else important goes.
Right where we want them. Easily way. Shit! No.
We have a great general opening.
Yeah.
Applications taken within.
This can be occupied by book 4. like
Matt.
Aaron and maybe Ruark are like vying for it, and then eventually Matt's just like, all right, I'm number 5.
Yeah, Matt's resume is way longer than all theirs.
And now that I've made it into the group, I'm number 1.
Even in book 5, I mean, in book 5 when he fought, is that the Cooladin fight, or is that 4?
That's still at the end of book 4.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, like then he's that's it.
No, you're right. It's at the end of book 5.
No, it's 5. Yeah, it's 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
So I mean, like that fight, that battle, it's a huge battle, and he does amazingly in it, and
it's
kills
also
the enemy general. It's like
Aaron's reaching
what else
for that.
makes you a great captain? That's it.
Aaron's reaching for that spot in book 4, and then Matt.
That's a small tussle compared to what Matt does in book 5.
No. The point that we talked about earlier.
Matt's not even
These are bigger armies than ever existed for 1,000 years. These are bigger armies than ever existed for 1,000 years.
Fair enough.
So, hey,
After book 4, Aaron's like, I've got this, and then in book 5, Matt's like, yoink.
Matt's like, no, you don't. Not by a mile.
But anyway,
That's it. He's in. I kind of agree with you. I like where your head's at. The Amirlan sends a warder off to Eridomen, and then Fane's message comes back to Rand, and he's like, son of a bitch. We don't know. I wonder if it is.
No, still not.
I really don't think so.
Amirlan gives a farewell to the Fellowship of the Horn. Ring. Shit. Something else. Whatever.
It is funny. So this is a. I don't know if we mentioned it, but we kind of talked past it. But there's an attempt on Rand's life, and Rand just happens to have been dancing. His horse just happened to have danced, just dancing, kind of.
That's happening right this second, but yeah. Basically, he feels the Watcher. So my point was, it was Slayer the whole time. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just a dark friend. I mean, not a dark friend.
This is Slayer, dude.
Right. It's a gray man.
Gray man.
Uh-huh.
Are you sure it's a gray man, or are you sure it's not Slayer?
Yeah, no.
I'm positive Slayer shoots this arrow. I don't know why I know that for sure, but I'm almost positive Slayer shoots this arrow.
No, Slayer, we'll talk about it later. We find out in later on in this chapter, if you remember, in this book, Ingtar tells Rand kind of what the fuck happened. He let someone in.
Yeah, he let some weird little man.
Okay. So the eyes, the watching eyes are still never explained, though.
Not really.
Other than it's probably Fane or something.
Yeah, I thought Fane was the watching eyes.
Yeah, I think that's correct. It's never really technically explained, but I think that there's enough implications there because once it's gone, Fane's gone.
I mean, he's outside in the open air, so the wind is just all over the place. So
it's like somebody's watching me, and then a chapter later, Fane's staring at him through the goddamn ceiling.
So the arrow flashes in front of Rand's face right as his bay's dancing around, as Jono was just saying, and then the Amirlan's almost hit, and the guy right behind her dies.
Well, the Amirlan is barely hit, but yeah.
She's like, I've been I cut myself with a knife worse than this when I go fishing. And Tom's like, that happened 28 years ago.
Yeah, you fish gut eating pussy. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Fish gut pussy.
This is when she mentions that somebody attacked her in the White Tower last year with guards and everyone around her. And that's when I say, you have a bad warder.
Yeah, all right.
Agumar forces her to take guards to the river, and she's like, that's fine. And then she readdresses the Hunters of the Horn and says, you're the true Great Hunt. And they ride.
And as they're riding, Ingtar mentions that Changdao and Nadao were gone.
Yeah.
Which is, not surprising considering what we saw of them just a few chapters ago. But it's a very kind of...
Ingtar mentions Chengu and Nadao are dark friends, and it makes him sick. And then introduces Shirin, but in that conversation, they're not actual dark friends, right?
Technically,
it's probably cook pot later.
Well, I mean, the thing is this: is someone a dark friend if Fane
and
has
then eaten by Trollocs? Yeah,
because they weren't dark. I don't think they were dark friends necessarily.
They've been infected by Masters.
Yeah, so they're not anything. And a month ago they'd never met Hayden Fane. They were normal people trying to help out their lord.
They're not dark friends the way Matt wasn't a dark friend when he tried to kill Moraine in the Eye of the World.
Exactly.
Right, fair enough. So he introduces Huron. He mentions 2 other sniffers.
Yeah, so that's a piece that, of course, Brown and Jono is just kind of like, well, how come we never see this shit again? Like,
one is
they
under
keep it on
retainer from the king.
down low.
Well, they do, because they hit it from the Aes Sedai that were even there just now. So they definitely keep it on the down low.
Brown has seen this before. Brown and has seen this, and it's probably Varen is my guess, because it sounds like her.
Well, then maybe that's the one that the king has on retainer, but Huron and maybe the other one that's in some other country that's a borderland they don't know about or something.
But so Julian Sandar says he does the same thing in book 3, book 3, oh, I do a similar role as you, minus the fact that he can't fucking smell violence. We never see anyone besides Huron, and we hear about 2 others.
Does Sandar have actual abilities, though? I think he's just really good at his job.
No, he does not. That's the point, is that he's got the same position as Huron, and yet he doesn't have the abilities other than just he's good with a bamboo pole.
Yeah, he's just a detective.
I mean, this is not dissimilar to men being the only person we know that can really see the future, and even
they parents 3 of them. That's
in the
more
same
than
country.
But even parents.
No, there's 3 total. One of which is in this country with the king.
No.
The other one is somewhere else.
No, Huron mentions 2 people in the same country as him.
No, he says the king has one, and then in another Borderlander country, there's another one.
Maybe it's talent unique to the geography.
Maybe
it's the pattern spinning out someone that can.
Maybe there's enough violence in the Borderlands in general where that ability kind of comes out more often.
Yeah, that's true. Sen Bowie could be a sniffer. He wouldn't even know it.
Yeah, he's just never around horrible violence. Maybe he just doesn't like the smell of brands in after a fist fight.
Imagine if he was a sniffer and didn't know it, then all of a sudden book 4 happens and everyone's dying.
What the fuck is that?
It smells like shit. Horrible! Calm down, Sen. You crotchety old man. I just think that there's only 3 Wolf brothers in all the books, right?
That we know.
This crazy guy, Perrin and what's
Elias.
What is that guy?
Elias.
Gnome is the other guy.
No, yeah. I was gonna say Nolan. I was like, that's wrong.
No,
gotta change that letter.
But that's interesting because that's also 3. So maybe they come in 3s, Jono.
They come in 3.
There's only 1 Min though.
That we know of.
Yeah, Min might have a extremely.
I don't know. Tuan way later in the books kind of mentions that people like Min may have been around on their continent, in the past.
Min is just foretelling to a degree, right?
Yeah, it's just a different version of it.
That talent's not tied to the power necessarily, or is it?
No, it's not.
I don't think so. I think people that are just can use the one power have a tendency to be more open to that kind of weird shit that could come along, like dreamwalking or whatever. Anyway, we cut to Dale Domon. He do be running scared.
He do be. I love this Bailman chapter because it's both really cool. It's again, Bailman? This is our first Bail. Did I say Bailman?
Did you slur his name into one word? Because I love it.
Look, I'm drunk. I love this Domon.
I love this Bailman chapter.
I love this Bailman chapter because it really kind of gives a global. We've gone from the far north to far south in Ilion.
Yeah, this is kind of cool.
It's the furthest south, in the actual fucking world, right?
Narrative so far. Yeah.
There you go. Look on my map.
Oh, you mean literally the furthest south? I guess. I don't know.
And it's almost an extension of the plot, the things you wouldn't expect, So he's just kind of trying through town. He gets to eating the badger, which is of course a vaginal reference. Don't ask how or why.
I love that the innkeeper doesn't even know what it means. He literally mentions I've asked her, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Don't even ask me. It's fantastic.
There's always been an inn called Fingering the Hole. I don't know why. Anyway,
he's an alien for a clandestine meeting. Yeah, they pay him enormous amounts of money to go to Man.
And it says,
and he's Spray do be a rivercraft. And they're like, we've heard you've given up the river trade.
It doesn't make sense because this is the 3rd time, and they're like, wait, what about for 20 gold? No. What about for 200 gold? No. What about 1,000 gold?
All right, I'm listening.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to go straight west. You just give me this fucking card.
He also says, I'm going to leave in the morning, and then he'll, like, immediately leave. He's like, all right, I can sail first thing in the morning.
But, like, it's
Let's get the fuck out of here.
What I love and hate about it is it's so inept. It's so inept. Like, we find out...
Low-level dark friend idiots.
Yeah.
They're set on some dumb task.
No spoilers. They're after the fucking... seal. He's got one of the seals.
He deduces that pretty quickly, given to his credit.
Yeah.
He doesn't know why or what it is. He just knows that it's that object and not the other three that he found in Meridon or whatever.
Yeah, actually, my book says Maribon. Apparently, I've got an old print. Makes me. So that's what they're after, and. Yeah. But it's like it's their third time running to try to get him to go east. Why fucking east? Why not anything else? I don't fucking know.
Maybe because of the people they have in place certain places, it would just fall into a trap that they have laid out, and they're trying to push him in that direction. Who knows, man? There's a million reasons. Like, dark friends only know certain dark friends. They're all in little circles.
Their point, I guess, is like, well, he's an Millionaire. If he goes to Tyr, they'll kill him anyway. Because why not?
Yeah. Obviously, they want him to go that way just so he feels out of his element. Period, and then that will force him to make better or worse decisions.
But they give him a card that says, "Hey, don't open me. But if you do open me, kill me." All right. Well, I opened you, so run the fuck away. It's so ham-fisted and stupid. It is pretty dumb. Of dark friends. Like, it really
then
is.
Again, maybe they want him to go west. And this is all a ruse.
That'd be fucking amazing.
You never know. It might be ham-fisted for a reason. He's not. We're going to bludgeon him over the head with this so he runs the direction we want him to run. You never know. I don't fucking know what their fucking ultimate plan is.
They want the signal. But he also, by the way, we find out later, has a male Angriel. So that's cool.
Yeah. Is that what that is? Or is it just like a low-level Terangriel?
Well, it could be a Terangriel, I suppose. But I get the feeling...
Because it's not like the little man that Rand has later. Or it could be very similar.
It's very similar.
It is very similarly described, yes, I agree.
But anyway, so that's the whole thing that he's got going on. But if I were on his crew, fuck that. I would
have left a long time ago.
Yeah, like he's got 3 people killed, one of whom was like fucking tortured with knives. Like,
yeah, what more do you need? You've been being chased by Trollocs, unbeknownst to you, not your fault. But basically was. Yeah, like since book 1. Like, keep going, man.
You got 1,000 gold.
I guess he makes them a lot of money.
Yeah, well, he does now.
That's true. Anyway, they sail into the night. He heads west.
Toward?
Eridomon, Falma.
All the small towns around Tomenhead.
All the small towns.
Episode 5, we said, we do be in love with Bail Doman.
Yeah, I do be still.
Is that tWoTcast for this week?
Yeah, that's tWoTcast this week.
So that's tWoTcast for this week. If you have any comments or questions, the best way to find us is on Twitter. It's at tWoTcast. It's also at tWoTcast on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Tell us more about Instagram, Tommy Bear.
I'm just putting up a lot of old pictures that we actually posted on Twitter like 7 years ago from Robert Jordan's house.
Well, it's pretty fun.
Tell us more about Robert Jordan's house.
Yeah, and some of Joe's artwork. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to run out of content real fast. So follow it to see no new posts.
Tom, we can do what we used to do, and we can sketch weird shit like Grendel as a fat old lady doing a compulsion. We can start posting that stuff to Instagram.
I've got that in the chamber. It's waiting.
Yeah, there we go. See, I mean, like, there's stuff, and we can continue to make stuff now that there is an Instagram. That's, we got plenty.
Listen, wherever you get your podcast, you can email us, twotcast@gmail.com.
You can join us in our conversation on Discord. We were going to take this off because we never use it, but we actually sort of been using it lately.
Yeah.
Permanently linked at the top of our Twitter profile, which is literally the easiest way to find the Discord server.
We're on Patreon now. Well, not now, but in 6 minutes. That's at patreon.com/tWoTcast. And if you enjoy the show, which you of course fucking do, unless you're a heathen scum, help us out and give us $1 or $2 or $3 or 43.
You must enjoy it if you've gotten to this point of the show.
Or you're a heathen for punishment.
tWoTcast theme song brought to you by Taffy Bennington, Sing with Taffy on Twitter, and Anarchy 101 on YouTube.
Join us next week for the Wheel of Time Book 2, The Great Hunt, Part 5, covering chapters 10 through 13. I hope they're short. You've been listening to Jono. Joe.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
I'm Tom. Still your mouth.
All right, everyone, shut the fuck up.
Wheel of Time. Reread podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. John is the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a